Hello and thank you all for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour. With the news, I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The government of Ethiopia has said it is gravely concerned by unsubstantiated and politically motivated misinformation that is being extensively shared by several actors about the situation in Tigray. Quote, a call for much needed assistance to the people of Tigray needs to be extricated from other political motivations and partisan support whose sole purpose is aimed at undermining the sovereign powers and responsibilities of the government, said Office of the Prime Minister in a statement issued today. The statement indicated that as of today, 3.1 million people have benefited from the humanitarian aid distributed in 34 out of the 36 districts in the Tigray region. The government's contribution to humanitarian assistance is maintained at 70%, while international partners' share of assistance is 30%. As per the joint protocols established in delivering humanitarian assistance, more than 135 personnel of bilateral and multilateral aid organizations have been provided clearance to travel and undertake assistance work in the region. There are now 29 international organizations working on the ground under the Emergency Coordinating Committee, who are also members of the Incident Command Post, the statement said. While both local and international journalists were provided access as early as November 2020 to cover the active phase of the rule of law operations and have filed reports from the region, allegations that the region was subjected to no media access is a false representation of the situation, the statement added. Under the current phase, access has been granted to international journalists from 7 international media agencies. This include the AFP, Al Jazeera, the New York Times, France 24, Reuters, the BBC, and Financial Times. According to the statement, the government of Ethiopia is cognizant of the overt and covert misinformation campaigns that have been launched against it in relation to the rule of law operations undertaken. The criminal cliques, well-financed networks abroad, continue to employ the use of digital media and other means to portray an exaggerated or misleading account of events unfolding on the ground. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Ethiopia, Demeke Mekonnen, today assured the Human Rights Council that the government of Ethiopia is committed to facilitating unhindered access to humanitarian assistance in Tigray and is working closely with all relevant agencies to address the humanitarian needs of the people of Tigray, including refugees. His remarks came at the 46th session of the Council. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Emergency humanitarian assistance is being delivered in 36 waradas of Tigray region at 92 food distribution centers. So far, we have reached out to 2 million beneficiaries in the region, and all possible effort is being made to reach out to every single person in need. Some of the senior UN officials who visited the region recently have witnessed these facts. The hostile propaganda by the TPLF supporters in the diaspora and sensationalized reporting by some media, which appears to have filled the airwaves of social media, is by no means a reflection of the reality on the ground. My government is committed to facilitating unhindered access to humanitarian assistance. We are moving with urgency to approve requests for international staff movements into and within Tigray. We are also committed to facilitating access to both local and international media, and the relevant government departments are working with media representatives.
The Battle of Adwa is a feat of military genius Ethiopians accomplished against Western intruders through astonishing military maneuvers and logistics provision. The Ethio-American human rights activist and community organizer Danyacho Tashoma made the remark in an exclusive interview with ETV English. He says the victory of Adwa had rung the bell of liberty across the globe, and as such, it is a victory for all humanity. Shifarao Lago reports.
The Ethio-American Danyacho Tashoma has spent some time with ETV English, outlining his views of the glorious victory of Adwa. He says the Battle of Adwa was matchless in its success of military maneuvers and international diplomacy.
Menelik to me is one of the most brilliant statesmen by any standard in the world. Brilliant not only in the sense of military achievement, but also in diplomacy, international diplomacy, as well as national diplomacy. To be able to take over 80 different ethnic groups, organize them, rally them, and have people walk 1,000 kilometers from Bali all the way to Adwa is incredible. It requires a miracle when you have 80 different ethnic groups unite. And that leader who unites such a diverse population should be recognized to be one of the most incredible statesmen. So that should be recognized for being one of the most incredible feats of military genius to me.
The victory of Adwa rang the bell of liberty across the globe, and as such, it is a victory for all humanity. However, Ethiopia has failed to properly promote this victory, according to Danyacho.
We think that Adwa is an Ethiopian issue. We say, oh, we've never been colonized, Adwa, we are this and that. But it's not an Ethiopian matter. Adwa is not African, not international. It has to do with humanity. It is, to me, the victory at Adwa is a victory for human beings. The reason I say that is because the Italians, when they came here, it's an extension of the Europeans. Europeans believe that they are different. They are created separately. They are created above and beyond any other human being. That's why they felt that they can sell people as slaves. Okay, so the victory of Adwa also liberated them. They got to see, they got to taste the mud, they got to smell the dust and know that they are human beings. So they were also liberated from themselves. You see how, for instance, black Americans in the 60s, they used to have this rally. They have said, I am a man. If you go and Google the images of the 60s, you'll see, I am a man. Okay. The victory of Adwa declared that, I am a man, you are a man. Created in the image of God. That's what Menelik said. And so you cannot come and subjugate me. And once that was inculcated in the minds of the world, subjugated, all the way from South Africa, all the way to Brazil and Latin America, it rang this bell, this huge sound that everybody heard. In Brazil, they had a newspaper that says, the Menelik, all over the world. Even the Italians themselves, you say Menelik is Mia Menelik. The Italians, the ones that were captured and were taken to Ancover, they named the city Gorbella. Ancover is called Gorbella, means lovely heart. They saw how they were treated by Menelik. They were treated like human beings. They were respected. The surgeon was respected as a surgeon. If he wanted to stay, he was allowed to stay. If he wanted to go, he was given this respect as a human being, and he was allowed to go back to his family. So because that kindness was so overwhelming, the Italians called that city, the Ancover, they call it Gorbella, which is lovely heart. That's where we say Minilik, people call him Emiye Minilik. I would say the Italians also called him Emiye Minilik. That's what it means, lovely heart.
As a global victory of humanity, everybody has the right to know more about the victory. This means a lot is expected from Ethiopia, according to Danyacho.
The Ethiopian Diaspora Agency said the diaspora has an irreplaceable role to promote the victory of Adwa. Director General of the agency, Selamawit Dawit, expressed readiness to expand diaspora participation in Ethiopia's multifaceted reform. Alula Teklamariam reports.
Documents indicate that over 3 million Ethiopians live outside the country's borders. They are said to be among the most influential diaspora communities in the political arena in the Western world. But a lot still remains to be done to involve them in the economic sector. The Ethiopian Diaspora Agency is thus working to manage the gap, expanding the participation of Ethiopian diaspora communities in various sectors.
We're trying to make this concept for put it up there for diaspora to learn from it, to stand with it. It is a history of every Ethiopian, whether he lives abroad, whether he lives in the country, whether he lives in the capital or somewhere in the region. This is the history of Ethiopians. This is the history of Africans. Africans are very much proud of this history. So we expect from diaspora to learn from it, so that they can be connected, coordinated, and work hard together, so that they can challenge every challenge that they have wherever they live, and also we Ethiopians who lives here, we can learn something. We have to learn from this history is that nothing can hinder us from what we wanted to get. If we stand together.
Director General of the agency, Selamawit Dawit, said the diaspora has a irreplaceable role to promote the victory of Adwa.
Diaspora should learn, and we're trying to advocate this concept, and also make them to learn from it, and also to celebrate it. Adwa is our history, the history that we are very much proud of. Yeah. It is the main victory. It is a victory for Africa. Yeah. It is a victory for Ethiopia. Pan-Africanism, started from the concept of Adwa. Yeah. So we as Ethiopian learned too much from it. We learn cooperation, we learn coordination. Ethiopian nation all together have done this victory. We do have a plan this year to celebrate with the diaspora, with a given situation of COVID-19. Even though it is difficult, to celebrate and make big event from it.
The diaspora agency is to hold
The Electoral Board of Ethiopia is rendering various electoral activities to undertake the upcoming 6th general election across the country on 5th June 2021. As part of this move, various opposition political parties are undertaking pre-election activities to promote their policies and strategies to the general public. Talking to ETV, contesting political parties urged the government, as well as the National Election Board of Ethiopia, to solve bottlenecks that affect the election process across the country. Haptamu Ashagre dispatches the following report.
Despite various socio-economic challenges, opposition political parties in Ethiopia are undertaking various activities to participate in the upcoming general election. Talking to ETB, contesting political parties have said further activities are needed to make the upcoming election free, fair, credible and democratic. They urge the government to create favorable political climates through genuine pre-election undertaking to enable all parties to take part in the election.
It will take a long way to make sure that the playing field is leveled. Some of the fundamental issues, problems we have been raising, answered. And that is after that we start to think about the campaign, about registration of candidates, about everything, the election. As we see it now, really, we have a serious problem, very serious problem, that this election is going to be unfree, unfair, and not credible. That's what we are really observing around us. The political environment is really not ready for free and fair elections.
National Electoral Board says every constituency officers are ready for registering the candidates, but the reality is different. Many offices are not opened yet, and many of the officers are not there, and so there are such related problems all around the nation.
According to the politicians, contesting political parties have their own policies and strategies to challenge the incumbent in a peaceful election battle.
We have been preparing with a variety of activities, like preparing a variety of policy areas. We have designed about 22 policy issues, and we have completed our manifesto for the coming 5 years. If we are elected, what we are going to do on this next session.
This has been, especially with us, including during EPADF 1. They are always saying it. Where their policy, their policies have taken them, they know it, during EPADF 1. We have both the capacities, the necessary training, and the know-how to write policies, to whatever They know this. But they are making noise. Both as EPADF 1 and probably some PP members are repeating the same thing.
Merera stressed all political parties across the nation need to prioritize basic political activities to change the nation for the better by refraining from wrongdoings.
If we cannot ensure durable peace, if we cannot ensure the birth of democratic Ethiopia, what do we get? What is the beauty of this election? Its beauty lies if we can achieve these two things and then turn our face to tackle the economic problems. There's three things, If we cannot do this, elections is really, as far as the ordinary citizens are concerned, as useless as ever. That's what we are telling the ruling party, our opposition comrades, those who are ready to serve the PP. This is what we are warning. At least Ethiopians have enough to suffer, enough to blood, enough to die, enough to whatever for the last 60 years, since the last days of the emperor. Now it is time to ensure durable peace, to ensure the birth of democratic Ethiopia, and to ensure, starting to face the challenge of meaningful economic development.
Close to 100 regional and federal-based political parties are undertaking pre-election campaigns and able to take part in the upcoming general election on 5 June 2021.
Ethiopia says it will accomplish GERD construction and reservoir filling in accord with the Declaration of Principles Agreement. This remark came during a conference held in Adama town on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and water resource utilization. Sentayo Tamra tells us more.
A panel discussion on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and other water resources utilization was held in Adama town. Scholars, media and politicians in downstream countries are sternly fighting to stop the progress of the GERD project by delivering disinformation about the project, it was indicated. And Ethiopian scholars were urged to actively engage in providing the global community with the right and timely information about the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam.
Downstream countries are pickling every stone to maintain their monopoly over the Abai water. Their scholars as well are crafting wrong analysis about the impacts of the GERD, denying the scientific facts of water engineering. They are also trying to get support from the global community by disseminating wrong narratives that the Ethiopian dam has only disadvantages to them. Hence, we university scholars should expose such lies to the global community. We also have to adequately provide the global community with the exact and updated information.
Ethiopia says it will accomplish GERD construction and reservoir filling in accord with Declaration of Principles Agreement.
Ethiopian ፍትሃዊ የውሃ የመጠቀም መብት የሚቃረን
Both Sudan and Egypt are opposing Ethiopia's long-standing stance of equitable water share from the river. This won't have acceptance on Ethiopian side. In fact, the negotiation will resume. Ethiopia is always ready for this. And GERD construction and reservoir filling will continue in accord with the Declaration of Principles Agreement.
Ethiopia announced on January that the construction of its Grand Renaissance Dam reached 78%.